Okay, hi everybody. I am going to go ahead and start. It's 8 o'clock. Uh, it, our meeting began at 8 o'clock Sunday Central Standard Time. For those of you on the East Coast, it's 9 o'clock. I'm recording this because I understand. Oh, there's Esther. Hi, Esther. I'm recording this in the event people are not able to attend or it just doesn't fit into their evening schedule. So um, I am going to begin by sharing my screen, and we are going to go over practicum. Very exciting. Tomorrow starts the first 15-week session of your practicum, and it's a very exciting and nerve-wracking time. All of these weeks have prepared you, and you are going to do so well. I know you're going to do so well. If you have any questions or concerns or something happens and it makes you nervous, you don't know what to do, I am available to you 24/7. Text me. Dr. Demito, I am in clinical right now and they want me to do this. Can I? I would be more than happy. I well remember that first clinical session when I was in NP school all those years ago, and I remember how nervous I was. I was excited, but yet nervous at the same time. So let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Um, I've had some difficulties with administration, able to figure out cost centers and such since we're a new program. Hence, that is why your Typhon accounts are not active. Fortunately, I just last week I called New York and I said, this has got to be taken care of. I need Typhon. Students need Typhon. This is ridiculous. And they were able to track down the right cost center and pay Typhon. So that should be available to you maybe now. But I'll check on that all tomorrow. Typhon will be available to you. Another thing, the gentleman who made your ID badges, I contacted him. I said, you said that you mailed them out 2 weeks ago. I haven't received them. I even contacted all of the Jewish schools around the Skokie campus because we're all affiliated. And I thought it may have gotten sent somewhere else. No. So he is sending them again, and he's sending them signed receipts. So I know that for sure we'll get them. So we'll get those this week. And the lab coats are being mailed. And I can't wait to see the lab coats because they designed a specific logo for our school, and it says Toro University, Illinois, and it will say FMP student on the lapel. And then it will have the badge here, and then you'll wear your name badge when you're in practicum. All right, so those are the things that I wanted to cover for sure. Let me share my screen. Where'd it go? Hold on. Let me check something because I opened up. Oh, come on, computer. Okay, just give me a second. I'm signing in. Give me a second. I don't know what is going on with my computer. Now I lost my Zoom.
Oh no.
Oh, for gosh sakes. Give me a second while I try to fix this. My computer's frozen. Oh, yay. I got it. All right. Yeah, I know. I'm up camping with my grandchildren, so they're in the
Oh
other.
wow.
I told them, be quiet. No. Uh, all right. Now I can share my screen. All right. And I published this course today, but don't look at the syllabus and stuff because I haven't finished it. I want to make some changes to it. But this is the course, everything practicum. And let's look at the syllabus first because it's not done. The syllabus it is going to be the OSCE. I don't know if you remember or not, Esther, but I had said that when we do our virtual practicum, you are going to, part of virtual practicum is that where you will conduct a physical assessment and exam on a patient that will be a friend or family member of yours. That's called an OSCE. And so that's what this will be about. Also, I have set up clinical group meetings for us every Sunday at 8 o'clock. And to get those, you can go right to Zoom Pro and click on there, and all of our meetings will show up for you. Let's get rid of
Oh
this.
nice. Okay.
It's just being slow. Okay, so all the meetings are there. Announcements. This is our first announcement that won't post until tomorrow. And our modules. So this is set up just as the other courses are. We have some resources here for you. How to make the most out of your experience, the patient case worksheet. This is something that you can bring with you to clinical if you choose. I would definitely discourage you from bringing your laptop or another device. Preceptors don't like it when you are logging in your patients during your time there. So they don't like it. But this will help you. I really like this worksheet actually. You fill this out for your patients, your chief complaint, your HPI, medical history, surgical history, allergies, meds. So if you do this for your patients, it's when you go back to write your SOAP note, you're going to have everything that you need here. Family history, social history, OB history. So I would print out a bunch of these and carry these with you. And it would be okay for you to make some jots on this while you're in practicum. And then this is your review of systems. And then here we go down to your vital signs and then your assessment. And here's your assessment with your primary diagnosis and your differential diagnosis and your plan. So this is a really good worksheet. So I would, like I said, I would print out about 10 of those and keep them with me in clinicals.
Okay.
I, in fact,
Are we expected to do this for every patient?
well, no, you don't have to do that for every patient. I would do that on the patient you're going to choose to do your SOAP notes on so that you can have more detail. And we'll get to
Okay.
that. We'll get to that because you are not going to write a SOAP note on every patient. That would take you forever because the SOAP notes that you're going to write are very detailed and they are going to take you a long time to do. So
Okay.
here's a blank Typhon patient log form. This is something that you can use to keep track of your patients, because you will need to log every patient that you see into Typhon. But you will not write a SOAP note on every patient you see, but every patient you see will be logged into Typhon. And this is just a nice and easy way to keep track of those patients. We only need the patient's initials, age, gender, race, the time that was spent with the patient. So when did you start? When did you end? Decision making. And I want you to speak with your preceptors about these things, because this is all about charging for your time and the billing aspects of that. So when you're with your nurse practitioner, she'll help you determine what level that is. So the CPT codes and the ICD-10 codes, she'll help you with those things.
What's the H&P?
History and physical.
No, I know, but like what are you putting on the worksheet for
Oh
that?
yeah, that's a
Just
good,
that you
that's
did
a
it,
good
or
thing. Why does that need to even be on there? Yeah, I would just say, was it done or wasn't it done?
got
Because
it?
I don't think that it needs to be on there.
Okay.
And then I would write in here for notes, what was the patient's diagnosis?
Okay. So, and the same, like CC obviously is chief complaint, but reason also is like just,
Let's see. I think
I'm
we'll
just trying to,
I think we'll make a couple changes to this form,
okay.
but
Okay.
for the in the interim, let's see, initials, age, gender, race, the time that you spend with the patient. So the beginning, start time and concluding time,
Okay.
decision making, that's part of billing. Part level. What does part level mean? I don't know what that means. I did not develop this form.
Okay.
And reason. Why do we need reason? We've got the chief complaint here. CPT, patient interview, and notes. All right. Let me make a couple of changes to this. But for in the interim, because I think you start tomorrow, don't you, Esther?
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead and use this if you need to tomorrow, and then
Okay.
we'll make some changes to it. Let me know what you think we need and what we don't need. I don't like having students do busy work by any means, and I think some of this stuff is repetitive. I don't like that. That's why I'm so controlling. I like all of my forms to be mine. I'm terrible that way. Okay, let me move. Let's get out of here. All right. And then how to upload clinical documents into your student portfolio. Your student portfolio is something that you will develop throughout your entire time here. And it's actually what you will use as you interview if people ask you. So people may, when you are interviewing, they may ask you, have you done any suturing? Have you done any vaginal examinations? Blah, blah, blah. And this will prove that yes, I have done 35 exams. And so this will show you how to upload documents into your student portfolio. So that's on that. Now let's see the first week. And so you are really going to be focused on differential diagnosis this next 15 weeks. The course that you're taking with Dr. Blackman, that's really the emphasis. And differential diagnosis is such an important aspect of being a nurse practitioner and a diagnostician, because I think I may have used this example in the past, but I say this to my patients, especially with disorders of the skin, because so many disorders of the skin have similar characteristics. So I have to take everything that the patient tells me, I take everything that I see, I use all of the knowledge that I've gained over the 32 years I've been in nursing, and it leads me to an educated decision as to what the best diagnosis is. But we're wrong sometimes. Sometimes we're wrong in medicine. And I will explain this to the patient that everything that I see right now leads me to believe that this is contact dermatitis. However, it does also share characteristics of a fungal infection. And so we will treat it in this method for 5 to 7 days. And if there is no improvement in your symptoms, then we will adjust our dosage and begin to treat it as a fungal infection. So that differential diagnosis would be number one would be contact dermatitis, and number two would be a fungal infection. So you don't really need to focus on those clinical objectives. That's more mine. How to create a differential diagnosis, review of systems, SOAP notes, and physical assessment templates, anticipatory guidance, and clinical pearls. I think this first week's materials are pretty important. So how to create a differential diagnosis. These are pretty good, but I have one also that I'm going to put on here. It's a little more simplified, but it gets to the point. Okay. And the next one is review of systems. And remember, we do everything as a SOAP note, right? S stands for subjective. Subjective is what the patient tells us. And then objective is what we see. So subjective, I can't tell you how many students I have had who struggle with being able to keep those two straight in their heads. Subjective, what the patient says, objective, what you see. So the review of systems goes under subjective because that's what the patient is telling you. So as you go through the review of systems, you'll ask them, with this complaint that you have you had any disturbance in your vision? Any runny nose, congestion, cough, muscle aches or pains? You'll go through that whole list and ask them. Okay, now in reality, do I? Heck no. But as a student, you'll be expected to. Okay. So for me, I do very focused exams. If the patient comes in with pink eye, all I'm looking at is your eye. I don't care about anything else on your body. But as a student, you are going to ask the questions about every system. Okay, so there are 8 to 12 body systems, and you're going to go through each one of them. That's one of the things that first worksheet's good for until you can get it in your head. After a while, you're just going to be rolling it off because you'll have it memorized. Okay, here we have SOAP notes and a template for you. And there's an example on here as well. So you can see the standard template for a review of systems and a physical examination. So as a student, your note's going to be very complex, right? Can you imagine writing one of these for every patient that you saw? No way. You wouldn't be able to do it. You'd take you 5 years to graduate. Okay. Whoop, we saw you already. And here's another one that is an extended SOAP note template. So when you're writing your SOAP notes, it would be a good idea to use this template because if you do and follow the rationale here, there wouldn't be any reason you wouldn't get full points.
And the soap notes are graded, right? They're not pass fail.
They're pass fail.
Oh, they are
But
pass fail.
I'm not going to let you fail. If you did something grossly wrong, I'm going to send it back to you and have you fix it.
Okay.
Okay. Now here is anticipatory guidelines. This is an extension that you're going to add onto your SOAP note, and I created a video that speaks to anticipatory guidelines. And in the adult population, anticipatory guidelines are essentially what are you going to need? Okay, so I'm 45 years old. I should have a colonoscopy. Did you get your mammogram? At 50, did you get your shingles vaccine? All of those things to ensure that the patient is getting that, getting those, the pieces of the physical that they're supposed to. And now in the pediatric population, anticipatory guidelines mean something totally different. How are you feeling, by the way, Esther?
I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, good. You
It's
look
been going easy so
marvelous.
far.
You look
Yeah.
fabulous. So,
Thank you.
and in the pediatric population, it means something totally different. In anticipatory guidelines,
Vaccines.
yeah, vaccines, and also I'm going to tell the parent what to expect in the next months before your next visit. So by the next visit, your child should be saying 2 to 3 words, crawling, and all of those things. And because it's very important to do that, because that's how we identify developmental delay. And the sooner we act on developmental delay, the more likely it is to be corrected.
Right.
Okay, let's see. And here are some clinical pearls, just tips, just some different tips for you. And here are some learning objectives. Don't look at these yet. I don't like them. So these are all going to be fixed tomorrow or Tuesday. Okay. So week one in a nutshell. I want you to keep track of how many patients you see, because every patient is going to have to be logged into Typhon. Okay. Now let's look and see here. I don't want announcements. Okay, let's look and see. So for week one, your assignment is going to be student clinical learning objectives, which you should have done already, right?
I'm gonna do.
Pardon me?
I'm gonna do it tonight.
Oh, okay, good. So that's part of that assignment already, right?
Yeah.
And then weekly practicum summary. That's all that's going to be due this week. Okay. Your first SOAP note is going to be due week 2.
Okay.
And I think that you only have a SOAP note. Let's see, you have one week 2, week 5, 6, 7, or no, 8, 5, week 10. So that's 5. Week 12, that's your 6th SOAP note. And week 14. So you will have a total of 7 SOAP notes due over the 15 weeks, which I think is okay. I think that's doable. Okay,
Mhm.
7 SOAP notes. And if you get that template down, you shouldn't have any difficulty, because you're just going to be plugging in different material, you'll be plugging in different um CC and HPI and all of that, but all of the other stuff will be there, like
Yeah.
not complaining, no abdominal pain or anything like that. Just leave that on every patient, and you won't have to change that on the
Yeah.
majority of those things. Okay.
That's what dot phrases are for.
Pardon?
So that's what like the smart phrases are for. They have the same thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And I'm no good with AI. My daughter's getting her doctorate degree right now, and I think it's totally AI. She is so smart with that stuff. I am not. But so essentially, week one, I want you to put your toe in the water. I don't want you to be nervous. You're going to do fabulous. If you break out in a cold sweat in clinical and you get nervous, call me. Okay. And we'll talk through it.
Okay.
Okay, questions for me, Esther?
Um, Questions. So I specifically for me, so if I'm not doing a clinical for 1 week or 2 weeks or whatever, something that's due that week, I can just take from a previous
Yes,
encounter,
yes.
right?
Yeah, and I don't care how you do it as long as you've got your hours at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you know, that doesn't matter to me. At the school I was at before, they would only allow students to do so many hours of practicum a week. I said, that seems ridiculous. I don't care if you want to do 100 hours a week, if that's what it takes for you to get through,
Yeah.
because
And
you're
then
busy.
the idea is that like the first week it sounds like more observation, right? Like
Yes,
just like
yes. And
watching
well,
our
you're
preceptor.
doing it with your uncle, aren't you?
Yeah,
That's kind of helpful.
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, the first week is typically observation.
Yeah. And then like afterwards, at least get some assessments in and
Absolutely.
as you go.
Ask your uncle, if you can do the interview. The interview is such an important piece. And at the end of this, by the end of the term, you should be going in and he should come in with you, start the visit, and during the physical, he would leave and you would conduct the physical, and then he would come in and you would discuss it with him what your findings were.
Yeah.
So, but that's a
Okay.
progression over time.
Yeah, he's very into the review of systems.
Good, good.
So you got to get that
I hate the
down.
review systems, but I know it's an important piece. Oh,
And then this is separate than obviously Dr. Blackman's things. Those are completely separate, right?
yes, completely separate. The course that she is teaching is more into the diseases of primary, or the diagnoses of primary care. So that's essentially what she's going to be teaching.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I saw in the SOAP notes the differential diagnosis is similar that we're doing the they're gonna be like we're gonna get sources and things like that for that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Like
You want to look up stuff.
yeah.
And I don't know if your work has like up to date or Hippocrates or something like that. That's always real helpful
Up
too.
to date. Yeah. Yeah, we use up to date. I mean, I think they can get it properties, but there's also WikiEM, which is nice. It's an app.
Oh yeah, 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 I know that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
One of the residents I worked with was like, oh yeah, let me look it up right here.
Yeah, see, that's helpful when you're working with residents, because essentially that's what you're doing. You
Right.
are essentially in a residence right now.
Yeah.
Because by the end of the day, when you guys are all done at the end of spring next year, you are going to go out and take a test. And after you pass that test, you are going to have the ability to do almost everything that a physician can do. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of responsibility.
And so for the more like the skills, like you're saying goes into the portfolio, how do we do that in terms of like getting it into our portfolio? Like what do we log into it?
I'm
Does
sorry,
that make
I didn't hear you.
like for skills, like you know how like there's like sutures or pelvic
Yes.
exams or things that you're talking about going into the portfolio. How what are we putting it into that we're putting it into a portfolio?
I
Like
think,
where are
let
we
me take a
logging that?
check. Let me look at Typhon when I get access to it again, because I believe that there is like a filter that you can
Mm,
use from the things that you have put in, your cases that you've put in. So like when you're putting
okay.
in your cases, if you do any of that stuff, I want you to add like suturing or pelvic exam, or if you collected
Into the
any
log.
STI swabs, anything that you have done, because that looks good. Some employers want to see that.
And then we don't have like we didn't get that clinical intensive yet, right? So we didn't
Right,
do suturing, we didn't do
right.
pelvic exams in person. How do we approach that with clinicals? Like,
If your preceptor is willing to teach you, you can do
okay,
anything that your preceptor will teach you.
okay,
Okay.
okay,
Now, you're going to do that. I just have to figure it out. I was talking with John last week. And oh, also another thing too, you guys are going to be getting a kit. He's mailing them to, actually, I think I'm going to mail them directly to you. But that kit is going to have an ophthalmoscope, an otoscope. It's going to have a tuning fork, everything that you will need for physical exam except a stethoscope, because everybody's got a stethoscope.
yeah,
So you'll be getting all of that stuff too. Um, and the clinical intensive will be sometime, I think like week 15 we'll do it. I'll adjust the schedule week
yeah,
15 so that you're not doing anything except that.
okay,
But as I said, if your preceptor is willing to teach you, you can do anything that the preceptor will teach you.
okay, sounds good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Don't hesitate. That's what I'm here for. I'm
Sure,
very
yes.
excited for you guys. I really am. And to have gotten this far, I have been battling with New York for the last 2 weeks because um, I know how important it is to have everything in place. So now they know finally.
Okay, good.
Well,
And
you
then Typhon, how do we see if we have access on there?
let
Just,
me
I
check
mean, I could just use
tomorrow
the log
because
sheet, but
I know that they paid for it last week.
okay,
And I asked the person that I'm working with Typhon to notify me when we had access. And I think because of the holiday weekend that it probably put everything behind. So I would expect tomorrow or the next day.
okay. In the meantime, I could just log it into the patient sheet that we saw earlier
Yes,
that you're going to modify
absolutely.
and then just put it in later.
Absolutely. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention too. You are going to get access to a program called Osmosis. Now, Osmosis, I've used Osmosis for years. It is a source of learning using videos, and it takes incredibly complex topics and breaks them down into understandable English. And so you are, I don't know how useful it will be for you guys, but you will have access to that. That will be coming next week as well. All right, my dear. So if you're able to join us next Sunday, and again, otherwise, talk to me, call me anytime you need. All right.
Okay.
And you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, Esther.
Bye.